Well, it looks like the game has officially changed. Starting at SummerSlam 2022, which was the first WWE TV 14 pay-per-view since the beginning of the PG era, Triple H is now in charge of WWE Creative. Now, the story's been out for days, and I don't want to cover anything that I don't think any of you haven't already known. But based off of all the allegations from Vince McMahon, he decided to step down and retire from World Wrestling Entertainment. And in his place was his son-in-law, the prodigal son, the game, Triple H, aka Paul Levesque. Levesque is now in charge of the WWE creative team, and we thought that maybe it would take a little while before we saw any massive changes. And boy, were we wrong. If you go and look at SummerSlam 2022, a lot of fans said that it was one of the easier WWE shows to watch, and it seemed to be a fun and entertaining show that flew by in the blink of an eye. And that's definitely something that's important because WWE shows have become pretty tedious and sometimes drag on way more than they should, and it makes people tune out maybe halfway through the shows. Whether it's weekly television like Raw or Smackdown, or the pay-per-views, it just really hasn't been firing or clicking. But SummerSlam put the bullets in the holster and got it clicking on all cylinders and moving down the tracks to where we as WWE fans want it to be, which is a fun and entertaining pro wrestling product, not just World Wrestling Entertainment. After the game's success running NXT, or Triple H's version of NXT, it was really getting fans excited for what the future building blocks of WWE would be able to accomplish now that they weren't held back by possible out-of-touch creative team members or the chairman Vince McMahon himself. And we've already seen these changes in motion just through 1 week of WWE television. Starting off at SummerSlam, Bayley would return to the WWE alongside two former NXT roster members in Dakota Kai and Io Sky, formerly known as Io Shirai, forming a new faction and coming after the women's division. Then on the Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam, two triple threat qualifying matches were announced to determine who would battle each other to become the next #1 contender for Bobby Lashley's United States Championship. The winner of the first triple threat match, you may ask? It was the phenomenal AJ Styles. The winner of the second triple threat match? The former NXT champion and former Blackheart of NXT, in Tommaso Ciampa. So it was set, and at the end of the night, Tommaso Ciampa and AJ Styles battled each other to determine the next #1 contender for Bobby Lashley. And although all the smart marks would probably jump in and say, oh, AJ Styles is going to win this match without a doubt, that wasn't the case. To everybody's surprise, the Blackheart and former NXT champion defeated AJ Styles in the middle of the ring to become the new #1 contender for Bobby Lashley, who we will battle for the title next week. Those triple threat matches were kind of the ushering in of this new era by being able to showcase talents that otherwise had been pushed down the card, most notably the former American Alpha teammate in Chad Gable and Chicago's own Mustafa Ali. The momentum would then be carried into last night's Friday Night SmackDown, where Triple H would drop a bombshell on the WWE Universe by reinstating the formerly released Karrion Kross, or Killer Kross as he was known on the independent scene. But not only did Karrion Kross return to the WWE alongside Scarlett Bordeaux, he returned by having Scarlett distract Drew McIntyre and then simultaneously attacking him on the ramp, culminating with a brutal skull-crushing elbow to the back of the head. Kross would then turn his attention to the reigning WWE Universal Champion inside the ring, signaling that the Tribal Chief's time as champion and time as the top of the WWE was almost up. This is more than likely going to insert him into the WWE Universal Championship program alongside Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns following their clash at the, so to speak, Clash at the Castle. This is huge for Kross, but it's also a sigh of relief and a huge light at the end of the tunnel for the WWE as it goes into the future throughout 2022 and into 2023. With Triple H as the head of the creative team, I think we will also see many more of Triple H's prodigal sons and pride and joys from NXT come back to the WWE. If I could pick two names simultaneously, I would say that the former DIY tag team member, former NXT North American champion, and former NXT World Champion in Johnny Wrestling, aka Johnny Gargano, is more than likely going to be making his return probably during the WWE draft, which is supposed to take place at the end of this month. I could see Gargano coming back to either Raw or SmackDown and finally being able to showcase what he's known for as being one of the most technical wrestlers in the WWE and in professional wrestling as a whole, and also being able to possibly reignite his feud with Tommaso Ciampa on the big stage, maybe culminating in a WrestleMania match if they play their cards right. Aside from that, I think that it's definitely a possibility that Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, will make his return to the WWE as well, and finally be able to be used with the creative intentions that he's always had for his character. And that's something that I think WWE fans have been clamoring for ever since his inception, whether it was as the leader of the Wyatt family or as the twisted personality destroyer known as The Fiend. And whether we're talking about Gargano, Ciampa, Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, Chad Gable, or many of the others in NXT, including Kushida, Roderick Strong, and so many names we could be sitting here for 3 hours talking about it, I think we're finally going to see what we've always wanted, and that is a creative and fresh pro wrestling product, as I've mentioned before. Not world wrestling entertainment, but professional wrestling inside the WWE. And this sounds like the perfect recipe to give fans the best WWE product that we've had since the inception of the PG era, but not only that, probably give the fans the best wrestling product that they've ever had in the history of professional wrestling. And with the WWE draft seemingly approaching quickly, I think it's best for WWE fans to just sit back, grab your popcorn, and watch as Triple H takes the WWE to heights, like I said, it hasn't seen in years and years. So if I were you, I would sit back, grab your water bottle, grab your closest sledgehammer, and look on as Triple H creates history, because it's time to play the game.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game.